Hello students, welcome back. So today in this session I'm going to be talking about dictionaries. And dictionaries are mapping type container. In other words, the entries, the records, the items inside the dictionary, the way they are stored, there is a key and there's a value, and the way you separate them is by a colon right here. You see this colon right here. So this is the general expression of your dictionary. So use the curly braces and then close the curly braces, and you specify inside between your curly braces you specify your key 1 value 1, key 2 value 2, and you separate each one of these entries by comma. Dictionaries are mutable, meaning you can change the elements of a dictionary. Keys, which are these elements, they can be string, integer, float, any of these numbers. Values can be integer, string, float, dictionary, list, tuple. They can be any one of these values. All right, so let's try to create some dictionary, and let's see how we create dictionary. So come over here, paste it, and let me comment this line out for the time being. All right, so if I run this, so I'm creating a student's course, and I create my use my curly braces, and I'm specifying my key is Ram, score is 85, Carlos is my key, 92 is the score, Roman is the key, and 78 is the score. And I print my student scores. It prints out my student scores. And then I print my type, like what type this variable is. And look at that, it's a dictionary variable. All right. On a side note, a lot of time you'll actually find some authors, they actually write dictionaries like that. So you can actually write this whole thing in one single line. You don't need this, you don't need to have this thing in a separate line. You can do that too. It's just like this one is a little bit more readable. Okay, this one is less readable, and because it's less readable, I prefer not this one. I prefer this one. So going forward, I'll be using this right here. But in a sense, these and these are the same. You can also create a dictionary from a list. So over here, I have a dictionary, and in this dictionary, I have a list, and in this list, I have tuples, and the tuple contains two elements: Ram 85, Carlos 92, Roman 78. So you have key value, key value, key value, and then you call dictionary. You call the inbuilt function dictionary, and you pass this parameter L to that. And by calling like this, it is going to convert this list into a dictionary. If I run this, as you can see, it converted this into a dictionary right here. Okay, class dictionary. Another way you can create a dictionary is using zip command. This is another one you're going to find. All right, let me run this. Okay, in this case, my names is Ram, Carlos, Roman, and my scores are 85, 92, 78. So Ram's score is 85, Carlos is this score, and Roman is this score right here. So sometimes what happens, you come across data where your keys are stored in one list and your scores is stored in a different list, and you want to combine them together. Very common operation. In this case, the way you can do that, the way you can accomplish that is by using zip command, and then you call dictionary on top of that. So by using zip, it's going to zip these two values together, and then it's just called your dictionary, and then it creates a dictionary for you right there. You can sometimes you have to access values of a dictionary. Okay, so how do you access a value of a dictionary? Let me create some few cells over here. All right, so let's say I have student score, same student, same score. Okay, and I want to print, I want to see how much Surinder scored. And the way you access a record, a way you access an item or a value of a dictionary is by writing student scores and then square bracket right here. And inside square bracket, you specify your key. Surinder is my key. I enter this, I run this, and it prints out 85. Surinder value is 85, prints out 85. What if I try to access someone who does not even exist, like Tom? Tom does not exist over there. Let's see what it does. And it throws an error because Tom does not exist. So Python actually has another method which is called get. Get also does the same thing. It allows you to access records from there, except now if the record does not exist, it's going to give you none value. So as you can see, I'm trying to access Tom. You see, I'm trying to access Tom, right? Tom is not there. There is no Tom over here. And then it prints out none for me. So it does not throw an error. It actually prints out or gives me a return value, which is more meaningful. I can deal with this. Okay. What if I want to see all the keys of a dictionary? So let's say I have this dictionary. I want to see all the keys, okay? But the way you see your keys there's an inbuilt method called inbuilt method called dot keys. So you say student scores dot keys, and that's gonna give you keys. And when you run this, it's gonna print out your keys. Surinder, Bob, Tanner. These are my keys right here. What if you want to see the values? Okay, now you want to see the values. Well, you can do that too. Come over here, values. If I run this, it's going to print values. You see, this print values, it prints my values. So the way you access values is dot values right there. And what if you want to see all the items? Okay, you want to see key and value together. Okay, you can do that too. So in this case, you say student scores dot items. Okay, and when you run this, it's going to give you key value, key value, key value. You see that? This is your key value, key value, key value for each one of them. Okay, what if you want to know how many entries are there in your dictionary? Well, there is a command called len, which is a short for length. So by running this length inbuilt function on student scores, that's going to give you the length of the dictionary 3, because there are 3 elements over here. Side note, keys can be string, it can be integer, it can be float. So in my previous examples, let me run this. All right. So in this case, you see my 56, 12, 34, these are my keys. In my previous examples, you see my keys were string, string, string. It doesn't have to be string. It can be an integer value. So in this case, let's say this could be an example of an employee. Okay, an employee is basically this is an ID of an employee, and let's say this is his age, employee ID and age. So this employee ID is 12, his age is 92. This employee ID is 34, his age is 78. Okay, so this way you can actually store uh, your key and value. Okay, so you can use integer value too. Likewise, you can use float too if you need to. Sometimes you have to add or update an entry of a dictionary. So let's do that. So let's say my student scores is Surinder, Bob, Tanner. All right, so before I add, I print my student scores. It prints out my student score. Let me do this, and then I add an entry. Okay, and the way you add an entry, you say student scores David equaled 88. David does not exist. Okay, David does not exist. So what I'm doing, I'm assigning a score of 88 to David, and then I print my student scores again after my adding. And when I print this thing after adding, you can see David gets added over there. Now I want to update some value. You can also update the value. So in this particular case, now what I'm doing, I'm actually changing, I'm updating the value for Surinder. His score is 85. I want to give him 90. So I'm changing his value to 90. So student scores Surinder equals 90. Now it's going to update the value. So if I run this, and there you go. So after update, you can see Surinder is 90. It was 85, 85, and then it became 90 over here because I updated the value. This way you can update the value. Iterating over a dictionary using a for loop. Sometimes you may want to actually go over all the elements, and you maybe want to do something to that. You want to have a code logic, and that code logic does something. It wants to iterate over your dictionary and does some logic to that. So let's say these are your student scores, and you want to go iterate over there. So the way you do is you call dot items. Okay, and you say the dictionary key values are name colon score. So if you remember your items, it returns a tuple, and the tuple contains name and score, key and value. So it's printing the key values are name and score. You see that name is Surinder, score is 85. Name is Bob, score is 92. Name is Tanner, score is 78. Okay, uh, let's see a simple application of this. So let's say you want to print, okay, you want to count how many students scored over 80. So if let's say you have a dictionary like this and you want to count how many students had the score over 80, and you can tell there are two students, Surinder and Surinder and Bob, their score is more than 80. So we can do this, we can employ this logic. We can say count equals 0 for name comma score in student scores dot items. Now if you remember student scores dot item, what exactly it is, if you go on top, we actually access that items right here. You see that student scores dot item, and I printed my items, so it prints out like this right here. You see, it's a tuple, and tuple contains your key, your value, your name, and your score. Name and score. So come back over here. So I'm saying for name comma score in student scores dot items, if the score is more than 80, then increment your count. All right, that's what I'm doing. If I'm saying that, hey, if my score gets more than 80, let's increment the count. And then at the end, print my count. So when I run this, it's going to print 2 right there because there are 2 students whose score is more than 80. So this is a simple application where you actually have to iterate over a dictionary to find something or to check for something. Maybe you want to check for a key in the dictionary. Okay, so you can do that too. You can check for a key in a dictionary. So in this case, let's say my student's course is Surinder, Bob, Tanner, and searching, let's say you're looking for Eve. Okay, so if search in student's course, if you are able to find this key inside student's course, it's going to print so that the student, I mean whatever this name of the student is, it's going to say is available, or it's going to say that students the search score is not found. In this case, Eve does not exist, so this condition is false, and it's going to print not found. On the other hand, if I type Tanner over here, you see Tanner exists over here, and if I run this, it's going to say Tanner score is available. All right. What if you want to remove an entry from a dictionary? Sometimes you may have to remove an entry. Let's say you want to remove an entry based on a key. You can do that too. So in this case, I'm removing Bob. You see, Bob is over there. I don't want Bob's scores anymore over there. You can remove that. There's a command, there's a inbuilt method called pop. And inside pop, you specify your key. So you have to specify the key right there, Bob. So I'm specifying my key, and it's going to remove Bob over there. And as you can see, Bob is out. What if you want to remove all the entries? Sometimes you're done with the dictionary and you don't want to have the dictionary. You don't want the dictionary taking memory on your computer. So you can do that too. So the command is, and the inbuilt method is dot clear. So you say student scores dot clear. When you run this, it's gonna print nothing, empty dictionary, because it has removed all the entries. Nested dictionary. So this is basically a dictionary inside of a dictionary, or a list inside a dictionary, or a tuple inside a dictionary. You can have all types of other data types inside a dictionary. So let's look at this simple example. Let me create some more cells. Okay. So in this case, I have students. In this case, this is my student key's name and my values. This is my value right here. This is a list. As you can see, this is a list. And in this list, I have age, okay, I have height, and I have location. 3 entries: age, height, and location. So Swami, his age is 50, his height is this, and he lives in Kerala. Tinku, his age, his height, his location, and likewise for Happy. So if I print students, it's going to print the whole dictionary right there, like this. All right. Then I'm trying to get the records for Happy. I want to see, tell me everything about Happy. So I run the second print statement, and it prints Happy's information. 32, age is 32, height is 1.8, living in Noida. So Happy information right there. Now I want to access the height of Happy. Okay, the height of Happy. So I do print students Happy, and then 1 inside my square bracket. So 1 would refer to the index number. You see that this is my index 0, index 1. So height is at index 1. And so that's why I type 1 over here. So it prints out 1.8. So when you run this, it prints out 1.8 because Happy's height is at index 1. Remember, your indexing on a list starts with 0, 1, 2. In this case, I'm storing my elements dictionary inside a dictionary. Okay, so I have Swami, Tinku, Happy, and now I'm explicitly mentioning, this is my dictionary, outer dictionary, and then inside my dictionary, I have a key, and this key has a value that is a dictionary right there. This is a dictionary. Okay, the values are dictionary. Age is 50, height is 1.7, Swami, and location of Swami is Kerala. Tinku, his age is 43, his height is 1.3, his location is Delhi. Happy, age is 32, Happy's height is 1.8, and Happy's location is Noida. All right, if I run this, is going to print my students. So this actually prints the whole dictionary like this. Then a print, give me all the values for happy. And you see that it prints me the values for happy right here. Then I want to know the height of happy. So if I run this command, it's going to print me the height of happy, 1.8. So this is printing the same number, but if you think about it, this one's a little bit more easy to understand. So in this case, what's happening, you can just by looking at this, you can tell there's a student, name is happy, is height. So we are getting happy's height. So this is a little bit more readable. Okay. Some advanced operation. So let's say you have two dictionaries. Okay, you want to combine the elements of the two dictionaries. You can do that too. All right. So let me comment this thing out. There you go. All right. So I have a class A, Archie and Bono. These are their values. Charlie, David, Zena, and these are the values. So one way to do, there's one method would be basically you create a copy of class A. Okay, I create a copy using inbuilt method.copy. It creates a copy and and the merge code actually is a copy of that. Then inside my merge codes, I say I'm calling dot update, and then you specify your class B inside. So what it's going to do is going to take your class A, a copy of a class A, and it's going to update the value with the with the dictionary class B. And if I print this, it's going to print Archie, Bono, Charlie, David, Zena. So you see that? That's what happened. I can also do another way. Let me run this. Okay, in the method 2, basically what I'm doing, I'm saying merge scores equal to class A operator. This is a union operator, class B. So it's going to take class A, it's going to take class B, it's going to combine it together and it prints out merge score. So they both are equally valid. Okay, they both will give you the same result. Stop. All right, thank you, students.